Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, All the Stories. Today I am giving you my TBR for September, which is just my TBR for the Avatar The Last Airbender Readathon. Maylise Reeves is the creator of this readathon. I will link her channel, her announcement video, her recommendations video, all of that down below, so you can go check that out. But I am giving you guys my own TBR for the readathon. I have decided to join Team Water Tribe because that is the nation I was connected to the most when I first watched the series. Like, you know how you imagine your character in the show. I was always a waterbender when I imagined it. So, of course, I had to join Team Water Tribe. So today I will be talking about the books I'm reading for this. Each team has 3 challenges. And if you complete all the challenges for all the teams, you can earn the title of Avatar. All the people who complete all the challenges get entered to win a book of your choice from Book Depository. So I will be attempting to become the Avatar and read all the books, read all the challenges, and just have some fun. I didn't want to say this was like my full September TBR because I will also be participating in Contemporary-a-thon, and that is, I don't think it's the very last week of September. I think it's the week before last. I'm not exactly sure. It's towards the end of September anyways, and I will not be including any of the books I'm reading for Contemporary-a-thon in this video because I will make it my own separate video for my Contemporary-a-thon TBR, and I will release that closer to when Contemporary-a-thon is happening. So stay tuned for that. So these books are completely separate. However, if I do not finish all of these books that I have chosen for my TBR for the actual chosen prompts, then I will probably have to incorporate some of my Contemporary-a-thon TBRs because they do fit some of these challenges. But since Avatar The Last Airbender is fantasy, and all these, when I was thinking of all these challenges, I was thinking all fantasy books. I do have books picked for every challenge, separate from my Contemporary-a-thon picks. First, I just want to say the group book for the readathon is The Rise of Kyoshi, which is situated here on the shelf behind me, along with my Avatar The Last Airbender Funko Pops. Can you tell I'm a fan? But anyways, the group book is The Rise of Kyoshi, which is actually a book based off of the television show, and this book follows the adventures or the life of Avatar Kyoshi, who is one of the avatars before Avatar Aang. So it's kind of a prequel to the show. This book is featured in all the team's challenges, as you will see coming up. So since I'm on Team Water Tribe, or I joined the Water Nation, etc., I will be talking about those books first. First challenge for the Water Tribe is to read a childhood favorite, and for that I will be reading Brissinger by Christopher Paolini. This is the 3rd book in the Inheritance cycle, which is Aragon, Eldest, Brissinger, and Inheritance. And this was this was like my favorite book series when I was a child. A lot of children read picture books or chapter books or easy to read books. I read books that were like 700 pages, high fantasy. That was my childhood. So this is definitely one of my childhood favorites, and I have been rereading this series over the course of this year. So I've read the first 2 books. I've reread the first 2 books this year, and I'm finally on to Brissinger, and it's been a couple months since I read the second one, so I need to go ahead and hop back into it. And this is what I'm choosing. I haven't said what this is about in this video, but I've said it in a ton of other videos, but I'm gonna keep it short in this one just by saying this series is about a boy named Aragon who goes into the forest one day and happens upon a dragon egg, and everyone in this land thinks dragons are extinct. So when this egg hatches and a dragon comes out, it changes Aragon's life forever. He is thrust into the center of this years-long war that's been going on in his country, and now he is in the smack dab in the midst of it, and he must fight this war against this mad king. He meets up with a bunch of different magical creatures along the way. Some you are familiar with and some you are not. Some familiar ones include elves, dwarves, dragons, some unfamiliar ones being werecats and urgles and coal. But anyways, I loved this book when I was younger. I love this book still, and I can't wait to get into this. I don't think I mentioned this, but each challenge is based around a character from the TV show, and read a childhood favorite was the challenge for Katara. And so the challenge for Sokka is to read a book with interesting world building. You guys, the fact that this is a Avatar The Last Airbender themed readathon has given me an excuse to buy this book that I previously have not bought because it was kind of expensive, but of course I found it on Amazon for much cheaper than it is in the store. In the store it's like $50. On Amazon it was like 20 something, and that book is the Avatar The Last Airbender comic series. This is The Promise, which is the first in the long line of series. I think they're like 5 out currently, or they're currently releasing the 5th one now. And each of the series are trilogies. So the first one is The Promise. So there's The Promise Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. I just bought the bind up of all 3 because after they complete the series, they'll release a big hardcover bind up of all 3 stories. So I know the first one is The Promise, and I think I know the second one is The Search, and those are the only 2 I know the titles of by heart. And I can't wait to start these. The one I'm most excited for is The Search, which is the second one, because The Search follows the search for Zuko's mother. And that was one of the things about the series that, like, I was like, what, we're not gonna know? That was one of the things that was like one of the only unresolved plot lines in the series that I was just like, so y'all aren't gonna tell us where his mom is? After all of this, all these hints and allusions to her, they're not gonna just say where she is or what happened to her. So the second one does follow the search for Zuko's mother, and you find out what happens to her. But this one, I'm not really sure what it follows. I just know it's the first one, so you have to read this one. And I know it takes place like directly after the events of the series. It picks up right where the series left off. Well, I guess I can read the back. So they have a bunch of Earth Kingdom colonies, and this is following Aang and Zuko trying to free these colonies and send the Fire Nation troops back home since the war is over and done, and that is creating problems. And it also follows Toph and Sokka starting a metal bending school, since if you watch the show, you know that Toph invented metal bending over the course of the show, so now she is trying to teach other Earthbenders how to metal bend. And that is what this is about, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. And the artwork gives me, it just is the show. It's so the show, and I can't get over it. And just flipping through it, some characters from the show are in here. They're old characters and they're new characters, and I'm excited. So next, I guess I'll move on to the Fire Nation. And for the Fire Nation, the first prompt is Zuko, and that is to give a book or an author a second chance. So for this, I actually chose Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, and this will be me giving this a second chance. I didn't dislike it the first time I tried to read it. It was just, I think I just had so much going on that this one kind of just got put on the back burner. Like, I started reading it, but then I had other readathons. Like, I started it and I read the first couple chapters, but then another readathon started and I had books I chose for that readathon, so I had to put this down, and then I just never picked it back up. I picked this up like, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, and I just read the first 2 chapters and never picked it up again. So this will be me giving this a second chance, not because I didn't like it the first time, but just because life got in the way and I had to put it down. So I'm excited for this, and this is very fitting for this readathon because I've heard multiple people say that this book gives them Avatar vibes, since there is elemental magic in this world. I know it's not just elemental magic, there are other types of magic besides elemental magic, but elemental magic does play a part in this. And I think Hannah from Clockwork Reads did a books that remind me of Avatar. Like, if you liked Avatar, then you'll like these books. And this was like the first book she mentioned, saying this one gives her, this is the book series that gave her the biggest Avatar vibes like that she's ever read. So I'm excited for this, and everyone, I've heard nothing but good things about this series, and I can't wait to get into it. And I don't know anything, like absolutely nothing about what this book's about. But based off reading the first 2 chapters, I know it follows 2 girls who are like thread sisters, and I don't know exactly what that means because, like I said, I only read the first 2 chapters. But I think that means they're kind of like soul bonded friends type things, like kind of like a mating bond, but for your best friend. From what I was getting, like it's a soul bond. And that's just really cool because you always get like the mating bond, like you're destined to be my partner, my mate, my true love, but you never really get a destined friend, and that really intrigued me. And something happens and they have to go on the run, and that's basically as far as I got. and I can't wait to read more of this. The second challenge for the Fire Nation was Azula, and that was to read a book with an interesting villain. And for this, I have two choices because I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to go with The Vampire Academy by Rachel Mead. I have never read the Vampire Academy series, and I was very intrigued to read it because I know it's one of those staple booktube. Every booktuber read this when they were in middle school, high school, whatever, right after they read Twilight. And I'm like the only person, not the only person, but I had never read the Vampire Academies. And everyone's like, this was one of their favorite series when they were younger, and it still holds up, and everyone who I know still loves it. And I just want to know what the hype's about. I picked this for this, but I don't know who the villain is in this. There's no synopsis on this because I got this in the box set, so the back just has all of her other books on it, so there's no synopsis. So I couldn't tell you who the villain is. I don't even know what this series is about. This book's been out for so long and I've never heard any spoilers about it. I don't know anything that happens in here, but I'm assuming there's a villain and I hope they're interesting. So that's what I chose this for. I do have a backup choice, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with the Vampire Academies. But the book series that I know has an interesting villain that I could definitely counts for this would be Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, because I have read Scythe. And I know that the villain in there was really interesting, and I'm pretty sure who the villain in here is gonna be. I'm not sure if it's the same person. Well, I'm pretty sure it's not the same person, but I'm pretty sure this book series has interesting villains and interesting characters in general, so I'm pretty sure whoever the villain is in here is gonna be interesting. And I'm excited to read this because I know The Toll comes out in November and I want to read that, but I think I want to read this closer to when The Toll comes out so it'll be fresh in my mind. So I want to I think I want to read this in like October or early November, right before The Toll comes out. But this is an option. It could happen. And the last challenge for the Fire Nation is Iroh, and that is to read the group book. And I don't know if I mentioned that for the Water Tribe. I think I just jumped into the next thing. But for the Water Tribe, the third challenge was Paku, and that was also to read the group book. So there's the third challenge in every nation, in case I just forget, is to read the group book. So moving on to the Air Nomads, the first book in that is for the character, of course, Aang. And for this, you're supposed to read a happy, hopeful book. Now, bear with me before I get to this book because I'm pretty sure this book is not happy or hopeful in the fact of when it comes to the plot. However, it is happy and hopeful to me. The book is Flamecaster by Cinda Williams-Chima. Flamecaster is the first book in a companion series. It's the first book in the Shattered Realm series, which is a companion series to the Seven Realm series. The Seven Realm series came out a while ago, and this series just concluded this year. So I just happened to read the Seven Realms this year. I read the first book in that series last year, and I read the last 3 books all in 1 month. Like, I picked up the second one, and I just completely binged them the rest of the month and read the second, third, and fourth book that month and fell in love with the series. So I'm so happy that I have this book, and I'm so happy and excited to read this book. So this book just makes me personally happy. Is the book itself happy, hopeful? Not really. I don't think so. I doubt it. But I think it counts. Like, this book is happy, hopeful to me. Right? Right? That counts. Challenge number 2 for the Air Nomads is Appa, and for that you should read a book with a lovable pet. And for this, I will be reading God's Grave by J. Kristoff, and I am excited. I meant to read this in August, but I just never got around to it because I want to reread this before Dark Dawn comes out. So I'm going to have time to read this before I receive my copy of Dark Dawn, because though Dark Dawn comes out in the US on the 3rd, it doesn't come out in the UK until the 5th. And the version of the book that I purchased and pre-ordered was the Illumicrate version of the book. So the book is not going to be shipped out from the Illumicrate warehouse until the 5th of September, meaning it has to travel all the way from the UK to me here in the US. So that's probably going to take a week or 2. So I'm probably not going to receive my book until, at the earliest, halfway through the month, at the latest, towards the end of the month. So that'll give me plenty of time to reread God's Grave. And of course, the lovable pet in here is Mr. Kindly, and also Eclipse is also in here. Eclipse is a shadow wolf, and I guess that is Eclipse featured on the cover. Mr. Kindly is a cat, a shadow cat, and he is featured on the cover of Dark Dawn. And I'm so excited to reread this because this book series is one of my favorite series, if not my all-time favorite series at the moment. and I'm so excited for the third book. And the final challenge for the Air Nomads is for Monk Gyatso, and that is of course to read the group book, The Rise of Kyoshi. So moving on to our final kingdom, the Earth Kingdom. The first challenge is for Toph, and for that you're supposed to read a book with a chosen family. And I will be, of course, continuing my reread of Harry Potter by reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Of course, this features a found family. Harry Potter himself has a found family within his friends and his friends' families, so this counts. And I can't wait to read this series, finish up this reread, because I'm loving it so far. And I'm of course not going to tell you what Harry Potter's about, because who doesn't know that. The second challenge for the Earth Kingdom is Suki, and for that you're supposed to read a book with a beautiful cover, and I will be reading, of course, Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff. This is the third and final book in the Nevernight Chronicles, and I can't wait to get into it. We already talked about it with God's Grave, so there you go. And the last challenge for the Earth Kingdom is Boomy, and that is read the group book. So that is it for my TBR for the readathon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're participating in this readathon in the comments down below, and what nation you're in and what you're reading, or if you're reading any of the same things I'm reading. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!